Hello there guys, my name is Jay or the A and welcome back to another episode of the Space Engineers Spotlights, where today we are looking at yet another craft by GEC called the Zepura, which is a heavy attack vessel. Now, GEC was so overwhelmed and happy with the comments that he received on the last build that he was really psyched to build something else. Now, he started off this build with quite a dull colour scheme, and it's actually worked into something more of a bold colour scheme, which I actually really love. And I love the front end and the way that these panels encompass the front end. And notice it is a small ship, so it's a bit of a small ship on crack, which is great. So we've got these like really cool sort of turrets that are being placed here with some tubing, and we've got purely hydrogen thrust here as well, so we don't have any other type of thrust, so this thing should work in most atmospheres quite well. And we even have this very lovely backlit section, which, because it's white, the white takes colour really well, so what you end up with is this like really cool one colour on one face and white on the other face. And I'll be honest, it does look really nice and sporty, I think is the phrase. And I really do like these sort of wing sections, the fact that the wing sections are where the doors are, which is quite cool. And I actually think I just set off the pressurization there, so let's give that a crack again. I think this should oh, there we go. Okay, so that door is turned off and these doors are turned on, and we can head on inside. Happy days. And we just press the button again. I believe this is the same sort of airlock design. Yeah, it's like a passer. I really do like this ship. Wow, this is cool. So back here we have the engine room, which again is detailed by these door markers, which are super sweet. And if we push on through now, please bear in mind I haven't actually gone through this craft yet, because I wanted to just surprise myself, because sometimes I do, sometimes I don't, and it just shows how easy they are to use as well. So in here, this is the engine room, which we have lots of gyroscopes yet again, but again on a smaller scale, so it's not as stuttery. I'm actually getting about 90 frames on this, which is great. So what we have here is we have a count of the hydrogen thrusters and all this other stuff, any damage, gyroscope counts, large reactor counts, all that, and it's only running on 2 large reactors, which is cool. And we have all these really nifty blocks that are sitting in here looking like they're connections to other parts of the warp drives and stuff, which is really nice. And we even have the hydrogen tank status, because we do have obviously tanks that hold the hydrogen in here that fuel the ship. Now then, let's hop on down into this lower quadrant of the ship. Now this is again the engine room still, and what we have down here is we have some storage for batteries and controls here for all the batteries, and then we even have some sort of really nice lighting down here. I actually super enjoy these ships because they're well lit. Like, I've not even got my light on, and I can just walk around and see everything clearly, which is great. Then as we pass on down, we have kind of these empty corridors, which I'm not sure what are for. Okay, so this is where the cargo is stored, so we actually have panels here that are covering the cargo. That's a nice idea actually, because it kind of tucks them away and blends them in. So I just thought these were kind of wasted spaces, but they're not. They are very nice spaces actually. They're quite cool, and you can access the cargo from there. Now then, if I hit X, I think it's X. Yeah, I can. There we go. Sort of walk up those, and if we pass on down to this section now, what we want to do is we want to open up the doors. We have a toilet which is on a nice little pedestal. We have a really cool looking sink. I like this a lot. He's got like a hot and a cold tap. I will say the cold tap, is that actually blue? No, it's purple. I would say you need blue there, so it's cold and hot, but that's just me. I'm just being super picky now because he's actually built a toilet in here with plumbing and some odds and sods and a loo roll holder, and even these walls are pretty trippy. They're cool. I like the amount of detail that's gone into this, and the fact it's an attack craft that actually has an interior is sick. And then we have a bedroom here with a ball and some other stuff, and a nice picture here. just, you know, so when you're not attacking people and shooting the crap out of them, you have this. Then we have these really cool ladders that pop down, and so we have a bit of a bunk bed set up here so we can jump inside the beds. Don't have any sort of shutters on these to tidy them away, but I don't think it's necessary on this ship. Where with ships like this, you have to kind of say, do we actually need that? Do we really need it? And in this case, you don't really need a shutter here because it kind of flows really nicely through, and the fact you can tidy away the ladder if you're not using it is quite nice as well. So that's cool. I really am liking the space that's in here. It's super spacious, and it really does remind me of some of the exploration crafts I used to do, where there were massively, insanely modded ships that I'm actually getting quite inspired by this, which is quite awesome and different. I don't get inspired by too much nowadays, and seeing stuff like this with the amount of detail is absolutely fantastic. We then have a first aid bay, and then we have two other doors. And what are in these doors? Let's have a look. We have a kitchen with a giant pot with a lid on, and some plates over here, which is kind of nice, kind of condensed. And then in this one we have a ladder down, which takes us into like the server room of the computer, and this is just telling us what's on and what's off, and this is where you perform maintenance for the ship if you have any issues with just general things, I guess. But you know, you can restart the computers and stuff down there. Then we move on into the war room. So this is where we have all the control for the craft. We even have more timer blocks here, another bit of I think these must be like the critical things, being as they're kind of fenced off. We have another one here. So and these must be the critical systems for flying and shooting this craft. So that's pretty nice to have. And then we have this really cool cockpit, which notice there is no front window because this is an attack vessel, so there's a lot going on at the front, which means you've got lots of stuff in the way of you, so if the ship does get shot up to hell, you have some stuff in front of you which protects you quite well, and I'm assuming there's going to be a front camera on this that we can fly with. Now these little alcoves are really, really nicely done, because if we sit down here, what controls do we have? We have control over the missile turrets, or the missile turret, as well as control over all the turrets to turn them on and off. So that's a nice bit of control that we've got. And then on this one we have again the turrets control. Center seat, we have a lot more control over other things because this is the main seat. So we have the Gatling guns, the Heck launchers, the rockets, the bombs down, because this does have a bomb sort of down feature, kind of like an underside broadside, so you can fly over a ship and just drop bombs on it, or you can fly over a planet and just drop bombs on it, which is really cool, and we'll have to try some of these out. And then we even have landing gears because this thing can land, which I want to test. Destructible blocks is turned off on this world because the rotors are still a little bit jittery, so I'd imagine he didn't want that to. I'd imagine he didn't want you to use them. And then we have the camera front view and rear view and the back view, so we have lots of visual here. Now what I want to do is I'm going to hop it, I'm already in here, and what I want to do is I want to just view from outside and see how well this thing flies, because he did say it needs to be a fast craft to be an attack craft, and this is pretty damn fast actually. We're building up speed quite well, burning quite well, and I've just realised this thing is asymmetrical, but it looks symmetrical from afar. Whoa. That's really, really cool. So what is that connection for? Is that like a pod for escaping? Let me just slow down. I'll tell you what, we'll go onto the planet and we'll check that out, because that's making me very, very curious, because the door on the opposite side clearly leads to something that looks like an escape pod. I don't know whether it's worth actually stopping now and actually checking it out, because we might end up falling into the planet and breaking it up and stuff. So let's just slow down. Now this thing obviously has some issues with slowing down. It's getting there, but it is very, very gradual. It's nothing too instantaneous, which I'll be honest, I would prefer a bit more control when it comes to braking. That's just me, but if I'm flying around, if I'm gonna be absolutely ramming this thing round, I'd prefer to have a whole heap ton of control than, you know, just gradual deceleration. I'd rather just stop or almost stop. But anyway, let's open this door and let's see what's in here, because this is, yeah, it's an escape pod. So he's even built a freaking escape pod into this. You freaking wizard of a man. I'm currently struggling to get inside. Oh wow, that's because it has a different gravity well to has a different gravity well to everything else. This is so neat. I like this a lot, and it's great how it blends in, but you don't really know what it is. And the view outside is kind of like okay, you can kind of see, and that is so cool. I really dig that. I have just jumped out of the craft, which means I'll have to go back in, but fortunately I've already opened up the airlock, so I should be able to jump off, turn my jet back on and just fly back in. But that is really nice, and I never even noticed it looked that symmetrical until I was flying, just that I hadn't a clue. Well done, GEC. You've completely confused me in a good way. That is very cool. Very, very cool. My only other question would be, if that's hydrogen powered, you've only got it hooked up to a merge block, which means that in theory you could run out of hydrogen in those tanks, because merge blocks don't pass through that sort of stuff. So you'd need like a connector to connector connection to allow those to refuel in survival, but I doubt this thing would be used in survival. It'd just be one of those ships that you'd want to just use as an attack vessel. Anyway, while we're flying, let's use some of the guns. We have the machine guns, which are just forward firing, very simple. But we have 3 of them, which are just for kind of annoying the enemy more than anything else. And then we have 2, which are the Hex, which are just super fast firing. That's awesome. I like these things. They even have the rockets, which we can just spam fire, which is nice. And these are just coming out of these sections. If I just fire them, there you go. Zoom out a bit more. There we go. That's pretty cool. And then we have 4, which are the downward facing ones, which is nice as well, because I like that this has some really good defenses. Like, you've got the side turret here, which is a rocket turret, and then you've also got the top turret, and you've even got a rear one, and that's a great addition, because you've actually got 4, so you've got 4-sided protection, as well as, you know, these other hidden things, because if the enemy got underneath you, they probably wouldn't see those from afar, because they are really well tucked under, and they blend, which is a really good thing. Because just look, if I zoom out, I'm the enemy, I'm looking at this. If I didn't study the ship, I would not know that they are there, and I would get absolutely blown to smithereens. So that is great to have, great to have. Right, we are still about 20,000 meters up, but look at the way this thing turns. Jesus, GC, you really need to just give everyone else a chance. My God, this thing has most stuff besides the braking force. That's literally one of the only little issues I've got with it, just how slow it brakes. Because I mean, I guess what you'd do is you'd probably bank around the corner, so you'd probably turn and use your rear thrusters to push you in the opposite direction and just do it that way. But I'd still like some better forward control, so maybe just a couple more thrusters. But I'm seriously impressed by that sort of weird design that from afar looks very similar. The only thing that kind of gives it away is the fact that you've got the rocket propelling out the back, whereas on the other side you haven't. So you'd look at it and go, hang on a second, that looks a bit awkward. Is there anything there that I could kill? And then you'd see the door, and that's a bit of a weak point. But again, you've got the turrets there that will sort of keep enemies off you, and you've got that one that's basically right next to the door, which should give you a good arc of fire. The only other thing I would mention about this, with arcs of fire in mind, is because of the positioning of the turrets on the side, they can't really shoot behind them because things are in the way. So you would have to rely on the top turrets to deal with that. We actually have 1, 2, 3, 4. We have 5 turrets all in all. So I would say I would have maybe said that the turrets need to be sticking out more so they can fire behind you. Because you'd want to try and utilize all of those five missile launchers to attack the enemy if you're in a chase, or if they're chasing you. But yeah, so let's just wait for a little bit, get down to this planet and test out these landing gears and see what the hell happens. Okay, so we are 8,000 meters off the planet's surface. We're gonna really put these braking thrusters to the test. There's a lot of them, which I'm having faith that they will stop us relatively quickly. But yeah, I mean, when I think about it, the interior of this ship is actually quite small. When you look at the exterior, there is a lot of stuff going on the outside, but when you go inside, there's not a lot. But I really do like the use of space. The use of space is great. That escape pod just blew me away in the fact that it's just tidy and tucked to the side. It looks like part of the ship. You would not know it's there unless you know, again, studied the ship quite carefully. And it is such a great little thing to have on a craft like this that is gonna most of the time be getting shot at. So absolutely fantastic. Apparently, according to space engineers, I'm now a master engineer. So on top of being a production engineer IRL, I'm now a master engineer. Get me. Let's sink this thing down, turn the inertia dampeners off, and see how well it stops, because the last one didn't stop as well as I thought it would, and I kind of had to take it a little bit easy. This one I'm expecting to rag around a little bit more, just because that's how it should be. So what we'll do is we'll wait until we're about 1,000 meters out and slam on these thrusters and see. There we go. See what happens. 90, 80. It's not doing too bad actually. 70. We got like a nice little forward drift going on. 50. We're going more forwards than we are down, so let's just keep dropping it down. There we go. 30, 20. Oh, look at that. That's a lot. It's a lot better to control in terms of landing. And the last one that I reviewed was a little bit on the heavy side. But this one kind of brings you in, it lures you in a little bit, because you press it down to go really fast, and then you almost risk blowing yourself up. Right, landing gear 6. I would have not known those landing gears were there. What? Did you guys just see that? Landing gears just popped out of nowhere. Let's see that again. 6. They are so neat and tidy. He's so good with rotors. That is brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. I don't think I've ever been so surprised with something. The landing gears just appeared out of nowhere, and the escape pod just appeared out of nowhere. Absolutely fantastic craft. This thing has actually made me extremely happy, inspired, and just genuinely amazed at how much he's done to this. It's so cool. So I hope you guys have enjoyed this ship. It is called the Zepura. I'll leave a link in the description for you to go and check it out, and it is by GEC, who is an absolutely phenomenal builder. If you guys have enjoyed this video, please go and give it a thumbs up, subscribe if you haven't already. If you haven't liked the video, you know where the button is. Comment for some ships you want me to look at, Imperion, Space Engineers, whatever. And thank you guys for watching. Peace!